Date rape is the most common of all of the rapes. It is the one that happens the most and the one that the men feel the most justified in. They feel like they were led on, or that they were given permission, or that somehow it was acceptable for them to penetrate without permission. My first date rape was with a man that I had been dating, and he was fairly attractive, and all my girlfriends thought he was quite the something. And he was giving me a back rub, serenading me, real sweet. It was really sweet. It was kind of a nice date, I guess you'd call it. And we were just kind of talking, and he was rubbing my back, and then wham, penetrated. And I tried to move, and I tried to get up, and he used his forearm, and he pushed my shoulders down so he could finish. And I'll tell you what, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that emotionally. I was not ready for that physically. I don't remember if I was wearing a skirt or what, but I was blown away. And I had been seeing him for a while, so the probability that he could have had consensual sex was probably pretty high. He had the charm on full bore. But when a man pins you down, he knows he wasn't supposed to be doing that. If you try to get up and you try to move, and he forcibly manhandles you so that he can do his thing, that's not consensual sex. That's rape. I didn't report because I'm sure that would have turned into I was asking for it. And all my girlfriends were like, well, I don't know why you guys weren't. They all thought that he was quite the hottie. But that's rape. And I didn't get over it. And I didn't want to see him anymore, and I didn't want to talk to him, and I didn't want to have anything to do with him. And then I was nagged and ragged that why can't I forgive, and how come I'm so upset about this, and it should be perfectly okay, and he was rubbing my back, so what was I expecting? But I do remember that it was physically damaging too. I had some problems for a while, being ripped and not being comfortable sitting down or walking around. And yeah, I couldn't get over it. That feeling of being violated, and that feeling of not having a say, and that I thought he cared about me. And he reassured me after that he did care about me very much. It's just, he wanted the sex. So can't I just get over that? It's just sex. Yeah, never did. And we didn't see, he tried. There was, some pursuits, and it makes you feel disgusted and nauseous if you're dating someone and you care about someone and they feel like they have a right to do that, regardless of what you're telling them, regardless of your physical actions and trying to get away. And probably the worst, I think, was I remember when he did get off me, and I, grabbed to cover myself, and I was feeling pretty violated, and he started to walk out of the room, and I said, how do you think that makes me feel? And he said, I don't care, and walked out of the room. I don't know if he went to go get a beer or whatever he did, but that made it like even worse. I just grabbed my shit and left. And where do you go and what do you do? At that point, I couldn't talk to my friends because they all thought he was a hottie. I'm not going to call the cops because I was there willingly. Yeah. So date rape is really common, and it's really common for you to not feel like you can report it or that you can talk to anybody about it. So I wanted to make sure, I've got this site up and I've got PTSD.online up, so that we can start talking about these things. So that's date rape. There's probably a few other instances, but the other one that specifically really stood out in my mind is I was drinking with a male friend. We weren't dating. It wasn't a romantic relationship at all, but we were drinking, and it was at my house, and I went to bed, and he came in and laid down, and he said he just wanted to cuddle, whatever, and I was drinking. And he started touching me, and I was taking his hands off me and telling him know that he could go, I'm in my room, you can go sleep on the couch, you go be someplace else if you feel the need to touch me. And he just kept basically putting his body in my space. And I said, if you're going to rape me, just do it and be done with it. And he did. And yeah, didn't answer any of his calls. And he was very upset that I wouldn't talk to him. And he said that he felt like I had given him permission. And I said, when a woman says, if you're going to rape me, she is not giving you permission. And that was a pretty, as far as I was concerned, a verbal cue that it was not okay. If I was calling it rape out of the gate, then that's not okay. So you deal with issues like that, and then you're afraid to be around men, and you're definitely afraid to have them over, or you're afraid to be drinking with them or having other issues. So that's okay.